In the heart of the dense Balkan forests, where the whispers of ancient trees carried secrets as old as time itself, there lay a village shrouded in darkness. Its name, whispered with trepidation by those who dared speak of it, was Vladivavia. Nestled deep within the embrace of the forbidding wilderness, this village bore witness to the echoes of an age-old legend, a legend that spoke of creatures that thrived in the shadows, creatures that hungered for the lifeblood of the living, vampires. The origins of the vampire myth were deeply intertwined with the fabric of the village's history. Long ago, when the church wielded its influence like a mighty sword, the clergy of Vladivavia preached fervently about the existence of these malevolent beings. They spoke of vampires as harbingers of evil, cursed by the devil himself to walk the earth eternally, feasting upon the souls of the innocent. But why did the church fan the flames of fear, nurturing the belief in such monstrous entities? The answer lay veiled in the murky depths of power and control. For the church, instilling fear was a means to tighten its grip on the hearts and minds of the villagers. By casting vampires as agents of darkness, the clergy sought to reinforce the importance of faith in the face of unspeakable terror, thereby solidifying their own authority over the people. As dusk descended upon Vladivavia, the villagers retreated into their homes, locking their doors and shuttering their windows against the encroaching night. But even within the safety of their humble dwellings, fear coiled like a serpent in their hearts, for they knew that no bolt nor barrier could truly protect them from the horrors that lurked in the shadows. Among the villagers was young Milena, whose bright eyes betrayed a courage that belied her tender years. Despite the warnings of her elders, she possessed an insatiable curiosity that drove her to seek out the truth hidden beneath the veil of superstition. Armed with nothing but her wits and a thirst for knowledge, Milena embarked on a perilous journey to uncover the secrets of Vladivavia. Her quest led her to the doorstep of the village's enigmatic elder, a man whose ageless countenance bore witness to the passage of centuries. With a voice like silk and eyes that gleamed with ancient wisdom, he spoke of a time when vampires roamed the land with impunity, striking fear into the hearts of mortals. But as the elder spun his tale, Milena detected a glimmer of something else beneath the surface, a hint of sorrow, of regret. Could it be that not all vampires were the mindless monsters of legend? Were there perhaps some among them who longed for redemption, for release from the curse that bound them to eternal darkness? Before Milena could ponder these questions further, a blood-curdling scream shattered the stillness of the night. Racing through the cobblestone streets, she arrived at the village square to find a scene of unspeakable horror. A young woman lay pale and lifeless upon the ground, her throat torn asunder by an unseen assailant. Whispers swept through the crowd like wildfire, casting accusing glances at those suspected of harboring ties to the darkness that plagued Vladivavia. In the midst of the chaos, Milena's gaze met that of the elder, and in that fleeting moment, she glimpsed the anguish etched upon his weathered features. Determined to unravel the mystery that shrouded her village in darkness, Milena delved deeper into the shadows, uncovering long-buried secrets and forbidden truths that threatened to consume her whole. But with each revelation came a chilling realization: the line between friend and foe, between light and darkness, had blurred beyond recognition. As the night wore on and the whispers of the forest grew louder, Milena found herself standing on the precipice of a revelation that would shake the very foundations of her world. For in the heart of Vladivavia, where the boundary between myth and reality blurred into nothingness, the true nature of the vampire lay waiting to be unveiled. But whether that truth would bring salvation or damnation remained to be seen, for the darkness that lurked within the shadows was not so easily vanquished. And as the night stretched on into eternity, the fate of Vladivavia hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of oblivion. As the moon cast its silvery glow over the village of Vladivavia, a sense of unease settled like a heavy shroud upon the weary souls who dared to tread its cobblestone streets. With each passing moment, the air grew thick with tension, as if the very fabric of reality itself were unraveling at the seams. Milena, undeterred by the darkness that threatened to engulf her, pressed onward in her quest for truth. Guided by a flickering beacon of hope that burned within her heart, she ventured into the depths of the forest, where whispers of ancient magic danced among the gnarled branches like spectral wraiths. It was there, amidst the tangled undergrowth and the mournful cries of nocturnal creatures, that Milena stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed beneath the earth. As she stepped into the dimly lit space, she felt a chill crawl down her spine, for she knew that she stood upon the threshold of something truly extraordinary. Within the chamber, she discovered a trove of forbidden knowledge, ancient tomes bound in leather and inscribed with cryptic symbols that spoke of a power beyond mortal comprehension. With trembling hands, she traced the faded lines of text, piecing together the fragments of a story that had been lost to the annals of time. But as she delved deeper into the labyrinthine passages of the ancient texts, Milena sensed a presence stirring in the shadows, a presence that watched her with eyes as cold and pitiless as the void itself. With a sudden jolt of realization, she understood that she was not alone, that she had never been alone. In the darkness, a figure emerged, its form shifting and twisting like smoke upon the wind. It spoke in a voice that resonated with the echoes of ages long past, weaving a tale of sorrow and redemption, of love and loss. "I am Vladislav," the figure intoned, its words echoing in the stillness of the chamber. "Once, I walked among mortals as a man, but now I am bound to the darkness for all eternity. For you see, I am not a creature of myth and legend, but a prisoner of my own desires." Milena listened in rapt silence as Vladislav revealed the truth that lay hidden beneath the veneer of superstition and fear. He spoke of a curse that had been laid upon him centuries ago, a curse that condemned him to roam the earth as a vampire, forever hungering for the blood of the living. But in the depths of his despair, Vladislav had found solace in the company of a mortal woman, the woman whose love had kindled a spark of humanity within his blackened heart. Together, they had dared to defy the very fabric of existence itself, seeking a way to break the shackles of darkness that bound them. And yet, their love had come at a price, for in their pursuit of salvation, they had unleashed forces beyond their control, forces that threatened to consume them both. Now, as the shadows closed in around them, Milena realized that she stood at the nexus of a conflict that spanned the ages, a conflict between light and darkness, between hope and despair. With a trembling hand, she reached out to Vladislav, offering him the chance of redemption that had long eluded him. But as their fingers touched, a shiver ran through her, for she knew that the path they walked was fraught with peril, and that the choices they made would shape the destiny of Vladivavia for generations to come. And so, as the night wore on and the moon dipped low on the horizon, Milena and Vladislav stood together at the crossroads of fate, their hearts entwined in a dance of shadow and light. For in the heart of darkness, there still burned a glimmer of hope, a hope that one day, the dawn would come, and with it, the promise of a new beginning. As Milena and Vladislav stood at the precipice of destiny, the ancient forest whispered secrets long forgotten, its tangled depths concealing mysteries that defied comprehension. In the stillness of the night, a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air, as if the very earth itself trembled in anticipation of what was to come. With each passing moment, the bond between Milena and Vladislav grew stronger, forged in the crucible of adversity and bound by the threads of fate. Yet, even as they sought solace in each other's embrace, they knew that their journey was far from over, that the shadows that lurked in the darkness would not so easily be banished. As they emerged from the hidden chamber, the first tendrils of dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, casting long shadows upon the forest floor. With a heavy heart, Milena realized that their time together was fleeting, that the rising sun would soon force Vladislav back into the embrace of the night. But even as they prepared to part ways, a glimmer of hope burned bright within Milena's heart, for she knew that their love was a beacon that could pierce even the darkest of shadows. With renewed determination, she vowed to stand by Vladislav's side, to defy the forces that sought to tear them apart. As they made their way back to the village of Vladivavia, Milena and Vladislav were met with wary glances and whispered rumors, for the people feared what they could not understand. Yet, amidst the murmurs of suspicion and doubt, there were those who dared to hope, who dared to believe that love could conquer even the most ancient of evils. But as the sun dipped below the horizon and the darkness once again descended upon the land, a sense of dread settled over the village like a suffocating blanket. For in the depths of the forest, a darkness stirred, its hunger insatiable, its thirst unquenchable. As the night wore on and the moon reached its zenith, a blood-curdling scream shattered the stillness of the night, echoing through the streets of Vladivavia like a harbinger of doom. With a sinking heart, Milena knew that the time had come to confront the darkness that plagued her village, to stand against the forces that sought to tear them apart. With Vladislav by her side, she ventured into the heart of the forest, guided by a flickering light that burned bright within her soul. Yet, as they delved deeper into the tangled undergrowth, they found themselves ensnared in a web of deceit and betrayal, where nothing was as it seemed and danger lurked around every corner. But amidst the chaos and confusion, Milena clung to the hope that had brought them together, the hope that love could triumph over even the darkest of shadows. And as they faced the horrors that lurked within the depths of the forest, she knew that their bond was stronger than steel, unbreakable, unyielding. For in the heart of Vladivavia, where the line between myth and reality blurred into nothingness, Milena and Vladislav stood as guardians of the light, their love a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness. And as they faced the trials that lay ahead, they knew that together, they would conquer all. As Milena and Vladislav ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, the air grew thick with the stench of decay, and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. With each step, they felt the weight of centuries pressing down upon them, as if the very earth itself conspired to keep its secrets hidden. But despite the darkness that surrounded them, Milena clung to the flickering flame of hope that burned within her heart, a beacon to guide them through the labyrinth of shadows. With Vladislav by her side, she felt a strength she had never known, a courage born from the depths of their shared love. As they pressed onward, they came upon a clearing bathed in the pale light of the moon, where a figure stood silhouetted against the night sky. With a sense of trepidation, Milena approached, her heart pounding in her chest, for she sensed that they stood on the brink of a revelation that would shake the very foundations of their world. The figure turned to face them, its features obscured by the shifting shadows, but Milena sensed a presence unlike any she had encountered before, a presence that exuded power and authority, yet bore the weight of untold sorrow. "I have been expecting you," the figure spoke, its voice like thunder rumbling in the distance. "For you see, the fate of Vladivavia hangs in the balance, and only you have the power to tip the scales." Milena's brow furrowed in confusion, for she could not comprehend the true meaning of the figure's words. But before she could speak, Vladislav stepped forward, his gaze unwavering as he confronted the enigmatic stranger. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice tinged with a hint of defiance. "And what do you want with us?" The figure regarded Vladislav with a gaze that seemed to pierce straight through to his soul, its eyes burning with an intensity that sent shivers down Milena's spine. "I am known by many names," the figure replied cryptically, "but you may call me the Guardian of the Veil. It is my duty to safeguard the balance between the worlds of light and darkness, to ensure that neither side gains dominion over the other." Milena felt a chill run down her spine at the mention of the Guardian's title, for she sensed that they stood on the precipice of a revelation that would change everything they thought they knew about the world around them. "And what does this have to do with us?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The Guardian regarded her with a knowing smile, as if he could see straight into the depths of her soul. "You are the key," he replied simply, "the key to unlocking the secrets that lie buried within the heart of Vladivavia, and the key to determining the fate of all who dwell within its walls." As Milena and Vladislav stood in stunned silence, the Guardian raised a hand, and in an instant, the world around them began to fade away, replaced by a swirling vortex of darkness and light. And as they were drawn into the abyss, they knew that their journey was far from over, and that the true test of their courage and resolve lay just beyond the horizon. As Milena and Vladislav were engulfed by the swirling vortex, their world dissolved into darkness, leaving behind nothing but a void of emptiness and despair. Lost in the abyss, they clung to each other, their love the only beacon of light in the suffocating darkness. For what felt like an eternity, they drifted through the void, their hopes fading with each passing moment. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the darkness parted, revealing a landscape of desolation and ruin. Before them stood the shattered remnants of Vladivavia, its once vibrant streets now reduced to rubble and ash. The air hung heavy with the stench of death, and a sense of hopelessness pervaded the atmosphere. With sinking hearts, Milena and Vladislav wandered through the ruins, searching for any sign of life amidst the devastation. But all they found were the twisted remains of those they had once called friends and family, their lifeless eyes staring into the abyss. As they gazed upon the ruins of their home, a sense of despair washed over them, for they knew that their quest had ended in tragedy. They had failed to save Vladivavia from the darkness that had consumed it, and now they were left with nothing but the ashes of their dreams. In the cold light of dawn, Milena and Vladislav stood amidst the ruins, their hearts heavy with sorrow. And as the sun rose on the horizon, casting its golden light upon the desolate landscape, they knew that they would wander the earth alone, forever haunted by the memory of what they had lost. For in the end, love was not enough to conquer the darkness that had consumed them, and they were left to wander the world as eternal outcasts, cursed to roam the earth for all eternity, their souls forever bound by the chains of sorrow and regret.